Hello and welcome. Today's class, our peak posture is Little Thunderbolt. Little Thunderbolt or Laghu Vajrasana is a really deep backbending posture, and it is a posture from the Ashtanga Second Series. So it's kind of advanced, but I'll break it down for you, and I'll provide modifications as needed. I would not recommend doing this posture if you experience any sort of neck, knee, or lower back pain. If you experience any sort of pain in that area, I would suggest doing some of the more preparatory back bending postures that we're going to do today, such as cobra, locust, or ground locust. So the choice is up to you. Listen to your body, and as always, just go your own pace. Don't let me or anyone else rush you. So this will be a nice little sequence that'll first warm up the body, warm up the spine and the back, and then we'll workshop Little Thunderbolt Pose. So super excited for that. I'll be teaching this class later this week on Sunday. You're more than welcome to sign up for my class at Moxie. I will also be posting a longer form of this video for the full sequence, and that'll be available on my website. So with all that said, join me in a seated position. Take a few moments to just arrive at our practice. Start to close your eyes. Breathe in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Breathing in. Hold it at the top. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Let's do this 2 more times. Move at your cycle of breath, really trying to draw out those inhales. And then hold it at the top. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. On this last inhale, start to notice yourself stand up or sit up a little bit straighter. Roll your ears, or your shoulders rather, up towards your ears and then back down along your spine. Take that big inhale, hold it at the top. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. At the end of your next exhale, start to slowly open your eyes. You've arrived today to our practice. Okay, so join me. Our first posture today will be a child's pose. Child's pose is really wonderful for, it's really great to counteract a deep back-bending posture. So we'll be starting and ending our practice kind of here today. So for child's pose, have your knees nice and wide, walk your hands in front, and then just gently rest your head along the mat. Let your pelvis just start to gently go back along your heels. Take a few moments to arrive here. Be here for one more breath. Start to feel the spine nice. Lengthen out. And exhale. At the end of your next exhale, start to lift yourself up. Meet me in a tabletop position. So knees are about hip distance apart. Your hips are stacked over your knees, and then have a slight external rotation of your hands. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your pointer fingers will be pointing directly straight, so that slight external rotation. And then the eyes of your elbows will be facing forward. We're going to warm up the spine with cat and cow. So on your next inhale, start to drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, start to lift the gaze up. Exhale, cat pose, start to tuck the belly, push the ground away for you, gaze at your belly. We'll do this 2 more times, moving at your cycle of breath. Inhaling for cow pose, lifting the gaze up. Exhale for cat, press the ground away. Make that nice U shape with the spine, pressing the ground away, gaze towards your navel. One more, your cycle of breath. Great job. After you finished your last cat pose, start to come back to a neutral tabletop position, and then tuck your toes, and then lift your knees up. Meet me in a downward facing dog. So this is our first downward facing dog of today. We'll start with some foundation for this pose. Your feet are facing parallel. Your toes are facing the front of the room. Again, pointer finger facing directly in front. You have that slight external rotation of the hands. Actively press your hands into the mat. You're trying to imagine that you're gripping your fingers into the mat and then counteracting this motion by pressing your palms away. So gripping the mat with your fingers, press the palms away into the floor. And then if your hamstrings are tight here, try bending your knees and then lift your hips up a little bit higher. Gaze towards your thighs. This might feel good for you. You might want to stay here, or you can try bending one knee at a time to walk your dog out. This might feel really nice if you have tight hamstrings. Get a little bit deeper into the pose. Few options here. You can stay here, or you can shake the head yes to release the neck, and then just gently start to shake the head no. Do any sort of combination of all these movements, or you can just choose to stay static. Whatever feels good for you today. We'll just be here for 2 more breaths. At the end of your next exhale, start to come back to neutral. The nice, generous, deep bend of the knees, gaze towards the front of the mat, and slowly walk up to meet your hands. Hang heavy here, forward fold. Again, we have a few options here. You can stay static. If your hamstrings are tight, you can have a nice little bend of the knees. You can have your hands reach towards the floor, or you can try interlacing your fingers behind your back and then gently let your hands release forward to open up the shoulders. Maybe try bending one knee at a time, gently swaying side to side. Get a little bit deeper into the shoulder stretch. So that's our first option today. If that feels good for you, you can stay here, or for something a little bit more passive, start to gently release the hands, bring them back to that forward fold motion, and then gently grab opposite shoulders, and you can also rock side to side here. So this is a different opening. This is a little bit more restorative here. Having the hands interlaced behind the back is a little bit more of an active posture, and it'll open up the shoulders. This posture, ragdoll here, is more focused towards just releasing the low back. Let's do one more breath here. And open mouth, exhale. Start to come back to center. If you have the bind with the hands, gently release the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Place your hands on your shins or your thighs. Lift the chest up halfway, gaze down to the floor. And exhale, let it go. Slowly start to roll yourself up, stacking one vertebrae at a time. And when you get it up to the top, bring your shoulders up towards your ears, and then back down along the spine. Bring your toes, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Inhale, sweep arms overhead, gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale and bring palms together, hinge forward, forward fold. Release the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Bend the knees, place the hands on the mat, step back into our high plank position. We'll move through our Vinyasa. Shift your way forward, glue the elbows into your side, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We've been here before. Do whatever motion you feel that you need at this time, or you can just choose to stay here again in a neutral position. Be here for one more breath. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. Start to bend the knees, look towards the front of the mat. Start to slowly walk yourself up, back to meet your hands. Hang heavy here, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Your next inhale, root to rise. Inhale, sweep arms overhead, gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale, let it go, release your hands to heart center. We'll move through this one more time. Inhale, reach arms overhead, gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold, hinge from the hips. Gaze down at the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Bend your knees, place your hands on the mat. Step, hop, or walk yourself back to a high plank. Move through your vinyasa. Always have the option to modify by lowering your knees down. Meet me in a downward facing dog. All right, so start to shift yourself forward into a high plank position and then glue the elbows in, lower down all the way. Untuck the toes, place your hands underneath your shoulders, setting up for our cobra position. So gaze down at the floor, tops of the feet are down on the mat. On your next inhale, start to lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, gaze a few inches in front of the mat. Exhale, let it go. Place your hands behind you, face down on the floor, setting up for a locust. Inhale, start to lift the chest up. Exhale, let it go. Now you can choose to do cobra or locust, or you can move towards our next position, bound locust. So interlace your fingers behind your back, and then we'll lift the feet up on this next inhale. So inhale here. Reach the arms behind you, lift the feet up, gaze a few inches in front of you. Exhale, let it go. Great job. Place the hands underneath your shoulders, lift yourself up, and come to a seat. So we've warmed up the spine. We have our nice, we've warmed up the spine. We're starting to feel really good. We're going to move to our next position, camel, and then we'll do our peak posture today, little thunderbolt. So for camel, a few cues here. Your knees are going to be about hip distance apart. Squeeze the thighs in together. And then if you have some lower back pains or issues with camel that you already know about, you can always lift your ankles up, and this will give you a little bit more height and allow you to reach your ankles. If you have some familiarity with this pose, then you can always do the full expression by placing the tops of your feet down. We're not going to be bending back with our low back. We're going to be bending from our thoracic spine, our upper spine. So almost imagine that you have suspenders here. We're going to lift up from the spine and then curl from this from our upper back, our thoracic spine. So once you're ready, you're going to squeeze the thighs together. Place your hands, fingers facing down on the low back. Your next inhale, relax the glutes, squeeze the thighs together, engage the core, lift the shoulders up, and then we're going to try to shift our weight back. This may be enough for you, or you can gently release one hand at a time, grab the ankles, and open up for camel. You can gaze at the ceiling, or if it feels okay on your neck, you can release the head back. You shouldn't feel any pinching on your low back, any pain here. This is the chest opener. It should feel really nice. If you're starting to feel any pain, you can just gently start to come out of it. Be here for one more breath. On your next exhale, place one hand at a time, low back, come up to seated, and then lower down, and we can counter that pose with child's pose. So this would feel really nice. Walk your hands in front of you, shift your weight back, place your head on the floor, place your head on the mat. So for our next pose, our peak pose, little thunderbolt, very similar to camel, but instead of pushing forward and staying there, you're going to be grabbing your ankles, and then keep the arms straight, and then you're in a lower back. And the full expression of this pose is having your head reach the floor. And I can't do that, but I will walk us through it. And maybe with practice one day you can get there. But for today, we're just gonna go at our own pace. We're gonna make it feel good. This pose is really awesome as like a back bend. It's very energizing because we'll be moving back. It's also a really great leg strengthener. You'll start to feel your quads engage in this pose because they'll be nice. They'll need to be really active to keep yourself from dumping into your low back. So when you're ready, let's get started. So again, squeezing in the thighs. We're going to this time place our hands on on the sides of our low back, thumbs on your sacrum. Again, we're going to lift the chest up, engage the core, squeeze the elbows in together, start to shift your weight back, and then one at a time, grab your ankle, and then from here, have that nice active grip on your ankle, and then keep your arms straight. We're going to start to lean back for a little thunderbolt. So actively squeeze your quads. Make sure that your shins are pressed into the mat. Trying to lean back as much as we can. Really start to feel your quads firing up here. And then slow and with control, use your quads to bring yourself back up. And then place one hand at a time on your low back. And then lift yourself up. And then lower back down on your heels. So you can counter the stretch by placing your hands on your thighs and pressing them down, and this will release the low back. That will feel really good. Or you can take a child's pose, and that will also help to release your low back. So we'll do that one more time. If that's too much for you today, you can choose Camel, or you can choose any of those other preparatory backbends that we did, Cobra or Locust or Bound Locust. So when you're ready, we'll do our final little Thunderbolt today. Start to lift yourself up. Squeeze the thighs in together. Bring your hands to your low back. Engage your core. Relax the glutes. Take a big breath here. Inhale. Squeeze the shoulders in together. Start to lift up the spine. Start to shift your weight backwards. One hand at a time. Grab your ankles. And then we're going to really squeeze those ankles. Really start to engage the quads. Start to lower back. The fullest expression of this pose is placing the head on the mat. I can't do that. Maybe bring a smile to your face. Be here for one more breath. Start to come out of it. Start to bring yourself back up. Place one hand in the low back, then the other. And then slow and with control, shift yourself back down to a seat. Take your hands to the top of your thighs. Press onto your thighs to release the low back. Or take a child's pose. It's a great job. Actually, let's just all take a child's pose. We'll end our practice in this nice restorative posture. We'll just be here for a few breaths. Maybe walk your hands up a little bit further. Start to notice deeper stretch in the spine. Let's do this for one more breath. At the end of your next exhale, start to bring yourself up to a tabletop and then cross your ankles, sit back, join me in a seated position. All right, so great job. That is our peak posture of the week, little Thunderbolt. You can catch me in the studio. I'll be there Sunday. You can sign up for 8:30 or the 8:30 a.m. or the 10 o'clock a.m. Yeah, I'm super excited to see you there. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to break it down. I'm trying to do shorter videos to really break down these poses. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Have a great day. Bye.